And then lastly, how do you recommend recovering between training blocks leading up to an event like this? And then I guess when should people start trying to taper? Week out, 2 weeks out?
Yeah. So we were kind of talking about, juggling criteriums and juggling endurance events like this. For the most part, going into a crit, your taper is going to be really focused on being as sharp as possible. So you don't need to be that fresh. You will want to be, the taper by definition will be slightly less volume, but not as much as what something for an ultra might be. Going into an ultra, the event itself is long in nature, so you need to be pretty fresh going into it, or fresher. That how fresh is very dependent on the individual. But yeah, so the taper itself can be a little bit more lengthy than you might do for something considerably shorter, like a crit or a road race. Usually with something like Unbound, if you're just trying to finish it, it is worthwhile to make sure that you're nice and rested ahead of time. So I would say the 2-week taper to me is usually a lot. I start to calculate pre-build ahead of an event. So that might be something like an overload ahead of an event. So like a final training push. And then the taper starts to kind of slowly implement into the plan. That I like to do it that way rather than doing all right, we're 2 weeks out from the event. We're going to only have you ride 5 times until the event. I'm more we start to drift that ATL needle more towards a lower number, so that you can achieve the right balance of being not super, super fresh, like you haven't ridden for 5 days ahead of the event, but you also are able to feel good on the day. So what that means is I would say a week and a half out for something like Unbound would be realistic. I usually, if you start to taper 2 weeks out, I usually like to do one slightly longer ride, and then the rest is mostly just keeping your legs sharp and moving, combined with a good amount of recovery. So I think the recovery ahead of a longer event like this is super important, but that's also mental too. So the ability to relax, so have time to step away, try and do your race prep ahead of time. So don't save that for your taper, because guess what? That just makes you stressed. If you save working on your bike until your taper, that's also just going to make you stressed. So it's one of those things of try and manage the variables far enough ahead of time that it makes a big difference. And then I think that will provide the best outcome in the long run. So yeah, it's really important, but I think a standard 2 week and a half kind of taper outline is really good for those events. And then you're just looking to achieve the right balance of, not taking too much time off ahead of the event that you lose fitness, but you allow for that little bit of a freshening to occur ahead of the event. That will, of course, help you feel better further into the event itself.
Awesome. All right, Isaiah, where can people reach out to you for your training coaching services if they need a 911 consulting call with you?
Yeah.
Or some last minute prep advice? Where can they reach you?
Yeah. So like Calvin said, I'm the performance director for Project Echelon, so I'm on the road with them. But I also run my own coaching business. It's called Training Edge Coaching. You can find that at trainingedgecoaching.com. You can reach out to connect through there. It's also on social media and Instagram at Training Edge Coaching. So you're welcome to find me there. Try and put out some content on that side, so you can look for it there. It's not quite as polished as Calvin, but that's the goal, is to kind of give that little bit of inspirational advice on events such as Traka and Unbound. And it's an exciting period of time. So feel free to reach out.